He entered government as an outsider, a technocrat with no tribe behind him, but his voice became one of the loudest in Uhuru Kenyatta's cabinet, a man of order, a man of consequence. Today, his name circles in conversations about 2027. But to lead a country, the people must first ask, did Fred Matiang'i leave behind a legacy or just scars? In 2013, President Uhuru Kenyatta made a surprising appointment, naming Dr. Fred Matiang'i, a university lecturer and governance expert, as Cabinet Secretary for Information, Communication and Technology. His task: spearhead Kenya's digital migration, expand infrastructure and lead a digital transformation of public service. The rollout of Huduma centers, the e-citizen platform, and the country's move from analog to digital TV marked the beginning of Matiang'i's bureaucratic rise. He didn't lobby, he didn't politic, he simply executed. In 2015, Matiang'i was transferred to the Education Ministry and walked into a storm. National exams were for sale. Cartels had taken over. The credibility of Kenya's education system was in freefall. He banned phone access in exam centers, dismantled examination cartels, fired hundreds. In just 2 years, exam leakages dropped by over 75%. For parents and students, Matiang'i became a symbol of justice. For teachers and exam cartels, he was the purge. Many of us praise Matiang'i for that, and he once said that he was almost moved to tears when he was asked about exam cheating, that advantages a few while disadvantaging a majority.
So, msichana mwingine mwanafunzi, I think she was a form 4 student, amechomoka kutoka hapa akachukua microphone akaniuliza directly facing me. She asked me, "Minister, that's the first time I was doing one of my first meetings in schools. News minister," and she almost drove me to tears, that girl. We worked so hard, but there are some schools that access exams. You know, some of the courses we want in university, like medicine or to go into law, they are filled by the time we are selected by schools. Some of those that have accessed the exams, what are you going to do to guarantee that those of us who work hard and get genuine grades, we also have a chance to compete for those courses? You know, why that was an emotional moment to me was I was being challenged by our children, kuulizwa, because some things had happened in the past that were not right and so on. That is the same moment we are facing in the country today.
Didn't we highly commend him for the job well done? It was the first time we saw a dedicated state official doing his job.
Actually have the bus or have a better dormitory. So
even a coat of paint will not cost you much.
And that money that you have spent on that bus actually could build a whole brand new dormitory.
After exemplary performance in ICT and education ministries, President Uhuru Kenyatta made another decision. In 2017, Matiang'i took over the most powerful ministry in Kenya, Interior and Coordination of National Government. He coordinated police, provincial administration and immigration. He was no longer just a cabinet secretary. Seemingly to others, he was the de facto deputy president in Uhuru's second term. As President Ruto took his own way, all his problems that people hold him accountable for began here. This is a tough ministry, especially in a country where people are not straightforward. Let's have an honest conversation. Who are we as a people? What is our value system? In a country where banditry was common, a criminal activity that some still practice until now, this was a challenge to Matiang'i. High-octane politics, protests led by the opposition, the desire to keep the government stable, your boss wanting things to be done in a certain way. How do you remain a great man in the eyes of the public? Let's be honest, when terrorists struck Nairobi, he responded fast. When floods or crises hit counties, he was on the ground. He turned public administration into a machine. But for every medal, there were bruises. As interior boss, Matiang'i was in a difficult situation. Opposition rallies, to some extent, were blocked, and in a move that shook the country's press freedom, 3 television stations were shut down during Raila Odinga's 2018 swearing in. But let's ask a simple question. You have an opposition leader swearing in himself when we already have a president in office. As a cabinet secretary for interior and coordination of national government, what will you do? That was a difficult decision, especially if you cannot make a unilateral decision. In a government like this, government runs as a system. Sometimes you may have a desire to do something, but how are you going to do? How are you going to overrun or overrule the decision of your boss? So that was difficult for Matiang'i. Human rights groups called his action authoritarian, but were some of these decisions or actions taken by the government solely his? Can we place failures or overreach of the government solely on him? Matiang'i invariably defended some of the actions taken as national security, but the manhandling of Miguna was blamed on him. Was he solely the one making decisions on the Miguna case? Wasn't Raila already in handshake arrangement with President Uhuru? If so, couldn't he call the president directly to address that issue? Came COVID-19, curfews and crackdown, police overreach, Rivoyala. All these are questions he has addressed and even asked for public inquiry. He said that already the current government has the files. So if there was somewhere where he went wrong, he's ready to respond, he's ready to answer. Individuals directly responsible for certain actions must be held to account. If a police officer abuses powers, he must be held to account. After the 2022 elections, Matiang'i disappeared from the public eye. For nearly a year, Fred Matiang'i vanished. Some said he fled, others said he was plotting. Fred Matiang'i has a record, advised the country against choosing bad leaders, warned the country, and some of the things he warned us about are happening. So, was he prophetic? Anyway, he has a record that divides, intrigues, and commands attention. In a country where performance rarely wins elections, can the men who enforce order now inspire hope? Or do you want to see Matiang'i in terms of the previous failures of the government, or consider his legacy as a man who inspires, as a man who is truthful? Because some of the things he has been mentioning are actually happening. He has been warning people, and he has always reminded Kenyans, please, let's behave well. We have a country. And that has been his rallying call, because, truly speaking, we have a broken value system. So, can we also as a people reflect? Okay, as I close, legacy or scars, the final verdict lies not in what he did, but in how Kenyans choose to remember Fred Matiang'i. This is just another day with Owen.